Hide it, hide it. Hello and welcome back to Butcher That Model. You haven't seen it. Now then, we started to do the World War II's Panzer a few episodes ago, a few videos ago. We've had a bit of a problem in that I bought a new PC. It wasn't a problem. It's a very nice PC. It's downstairs, it's a gaming one. I had it custom made. And it's about 4.5 weeks old, and it's decided to come up with blue screen of death. So what I'd done was I'd recorded the next episode on my phone, downloaded it to the new PC, and we're going to have to wait for weeks for it to come back from getting repaired. So sorry about that, but don't panic. The World War II's video on how it got from the box to this stage we'll post as soon as I get my PC back. So it's coming. But in the meantime, I thought, well, we haven't actually done any proper armour. Now, do you remember a few episodes ago I was on about there are certain planes you have to build? It's like the unwritten model making law. You have to build a Spitfire and you have to build a Messerschmitt. It's the same with tanks. You have to build a Tiger and you have to build a Sherman. It's a little Sherman. It's only 176, $6.99. It's a new tool. It's got the cartograph decal. Stick on the side of the box. It's not a guaranteed new tooling, but looking on scale mates and that it is. Listen, we'll have a look. Let's have a see what we're going to get in the box. We're going to get an instruction sheet. I'm going to get a bag of goodies. Nothing else in the box. Now this one doesn't come with paints. It's not a starter kit, so you're going to have to invest in some paints. And we want a black, a gunmetal, a light olive and a rusty colour. So it's 4 paints, about £1.75 each for the Tamiya ones. The Mr. Hobby are slightly more expensive, the Accurus range. Mr. Hobby is fantastic. It's good paint. It's good paint. A lot of people don't like painting with Tamiya paints. I quite like them. It's like anything, it's personal preference. So we're going to be using Tamiya because they are cheaper. They are cheaper than the Accurus. Accurus are fantastic paints. So we'll have a look what we got in this. We've got flat green. I'll have a nip in my local model shop tomorrow, and I've probably got a light olive actually. I'll have a look in a minute, and then if not, I'll just go on up tomorrow. So let's have a look what we're going to get in the bag. Right, sharp object, cutting away from your body. Trust me, I do this for a living. I'm a butcher, you know, and I've still got all my fingers. Having said that, I'll probably jinx myself now and chop my hand off with a cleaver tomorrow. Right then, so we get lots of little things, lots of screws. We get rubber band tracks. Now I'll show you the best way of dealing with these. They're okay. They're very old-fashioned now, but they're workable if you know how to do it. And there's a very simple and easy way of doing these. Right then, what we're going to get? We've got the hull on the side skirts. We've got the turret, the other sort of side of it, and the underneath and the back, and then we've got all the suspension and all the wheels, the gun and the top of the cupola. So there's not a huge number of parts in it. It'll be a mega build, and we'll do a nice little diorama for it to sit on with our little CDs. The beauty of doing a CD diorama as well is you can store a lot of them on a shelf. They don't take up much room. So if you have got, there's a decal. If you have got limited room in your bedroom or wherever you've got a shelf or something, you can put things on. The CD dioramas are quite a nice little idea. Right then, so the instruction sheet sets us off by doing all the rolled wheels and putting the hull and body together, the turret, and then the tracks and signature on top. Looks quite a nice, straightforward little build. And then on the back we've got the colour coordination. You've got 2 options from what I can gather. On the outside of the box you can do the American one, or you can do a British one. Number 4 Troop, A Squadron, 3rd County of London Yeomanry, 4th Armoured Brigade, 1st Corps, British Army, June 1944. Now we can either do one of two dials for this. We could do a countryside dial where it's somewhere in the middle of France, or we could do a beach dial where it's coming up the beach after landing at D-Day. Could do that. We'll have to think about that one. Or if you've got a preference, you could put a comment at the bottom as to what diorama you'd like to see. We've done water. We haven't really done a foresty, woody sort of in the countryside diorama. But if we get a couple of comments after the video is posted, before we do the diorama, we'll work on it like that. Right then, so what we'll do is I shall pause this because it's time machine, and I shall get our trusty Wilkinson's can of undercoat and give this a good old spraying, and we'll be back later to carry on with all the buildings in the world. Because what is it? It's a time machine. But to me, time machine. See, it works, doesn't it? Right then, I left this to dry overnight. I've taken all the bits off the sprue and cleaned them up. What I've also done is there's a very repetitive step where we have to make the bogey and the roll wheels. Now the bogey is this thing. Okay, now there's 6 of them to make, so I've made 5 of them already because watching me make 6 would be boring. So what we want to do, there are things you need to buy. Okay, one is a tool that is pretty much essential for model making, and it's this thing. It's called a pin vise. It's a very, very tiny hand drill. Now this is a very nice Citadel one, and this is one off eBay for about £3. Now these are great. There's nothing wrong with these. Okay, buy one of these. I've got this one because I do a lot of shipbuilding, and it's very, very comfortable to use. And when you're drilling out 200 portholes, this can be a pain. It'll make your hand sore. This is just comfortable to use. So go on eBay or somewhere like that and buy yourself a pin vise. Okay, they're not that expensive, and they'll come with 10 or 12 different sized little drill bits. Good tool to have. Alright. Now I've used it on these to drill out the holes to make them a bit more. It's a very, very tight fit, and if you're pushing onto little tiny plastic plug, you know, little pins, if it's tight, it's very easy to snap them and break them, and then even to all sorts of like, oh no, what am I going to do? So invest in a little pin vise. They're only a couple of quid on eBay, but they're a good tool and they're worth having. The other thing I'd like you to do, if you want to carry on with our next stage of this, we're going to do a diorama and we're going to do some weathering. Now there are lots of different products on the market for weathering. It's a very, very cheap way of doing it, and it's the way I actually like to do it. If you go into something like Wilkinson's, or you can get them online, some pastels, but make sure the soft pastels, you don't want the ones that say oil pastel. Okay, just soft pastels, not the oil ones. Make sure they're chalk based, not oil based. Alright, and then I'm going to teach you in the next video when we get to weathering how to make your own weathering powders. And the other thing to buy, now this is one of the very strange things in life where cheaper is better. It's not always the case. You know, you pay your money, you pay your choice, you know what I mean? But when it comes to hairspray, for model making, the cheaper the better. This is actually a can of glue, believe it or not. When your mum or your big sisters and that spend 3 or 4 hours getting ready to go out with your dad or their boyfriends, they're actually spraying glue in their hair. They don't know it, but they are. But this is great for fixing, getting the powder that we're going to make to stick to, I'll just use the the little main panther. We're going to do all this bit. We're going to make this all dirty and dusty, and because they are in real life, you know. So if you want to do the diorama stage with us next, you know, in the next build, the next part of the series, nip into Wilkinson's or someone like that, or an art shop, and make sure you buy soft pastels, not oil pastels. Some very, very cheap. The cheaper the better hairspray, because it contains more glue, believe it or not. And you might want to invest in this stuff. This stuff is fantastic. Tamiya extra thin. These glues are great. Satan Snot has its uses. This stuff's fantastic. All right, and I'll show you how to use that, especially when we come to doing an aeroplane, which we may do as the next build. So, bogies. Let's do these wheels. So I've drilled mine out. I've made them very, very easy. Some extra thin. Just a bit on there. Because we're not going to play with this. We don't want the tracks to go around. So we can quite happily glue these in place. So we basically put the wheels on. You've got a little tiny lug, a little lip there, and just a drop on there. Now you'll notice this piece that sits over the top has got holes in the back that don't go all the way through. The holes go to the back, to the wheels. Alright, because the little pin that you sat the wheel on actually comes through and connects in there. So we'll just leave that there to dry for a little bit. Now the other thing I did as well is, to make it easier, is I've already painted the inside of where the wheels and the tracks go, just because when we get all the bogies on and all the wheels on, it's going to be very difficult to get behind there to paint. So that's what I say about when you're looking at your plans, study your build, think about the next stage and the stage after that. It's a bit like playing chess, where you're working in your mind, you're planning 2 or 3 moves ahead. Alright, so go ahead and paint the inside of that with the light olive colour. Now, on it to my shop, and the closest you can get is olive green, which is XF58 if you're using Tamiya paints. It's extremely close. You may get rivet counters saying, oh, that's the wrong shade of Dunkelgarb. Just ignore rivet counters. We're not doing IPMS standard display models that are going to go in a competition. These are our models for fun. Okay. Later on, there's nothing to stop you if you're getting very competent in model making and you want to enter. Join your model club. Join if you'd like in the hobby and you've done 2 or 3 of the builds with us so far and you're thinking, you know, I like this. Think about investing. Think about joining your local model club and meeting other modelers. They're a fantastic group. You may get the odd rivet counter. You'll get that anywhere. But generally, join your local model club and they're great guys. And they'll help you. They'll help you as much as I'm helping you. In fact, it's somebody to talk to directly and ask questions to directly. You know, there's no such thing as a stupid question in life. The only thing that's stupid is somebody that doesn't ask a question. Because if you don't know, if you don't ask, you'll never learn. And there are lots and lots of people out in the world, especially in model making, that will be more than happy to answer any questions you've got and help you. So don't be afraid of ever asking a question. No matter what you're doing, whatever it is in life, ask the question. Seriously, there's no such thing as a stupid question. You may get a stupid answer, but ask the questions. So, right, let's get on with this and we'll start putting the bogies and the wheels on. So let's have a look. So we'll start at one end. We'll start. No, that's the one for the plant. Right, we'll use that one. So we'll put the back wheel on first. Drop in the pin. Back wheel. And sitting on it. Okay, now this stuff sets quite quickly. Right. So we've got these little things, spacer things. Go that way up. So the cylinder, there's like a cylinder, a piston thing, goes at the top. Another good way of doing this, after we've got it like this, is pop it in And then get your extra thin and glue from the back. Put that in there. And then we'll get a bogey. And it goes that way. And go in the holes. I'll move that now. And then glue from the back. This stuff works very well on capillary action. And what that is it'll suck itself into the gap. Now this stuff is fantastic. The way this works, it's the strongest bond you can get for plastic. It's like welding. It actually melts. Once you put the two bits of plastic together, the extra thing works into the gap. It actually melts the two bits of plastic both sides, and then evaporates and then they're stuck together, and it's a rock solid. It's the strongest bit. It's better than super glue for plastics. Fantastic gear. I'll just leave that to settle for a little bit, and then we'll do the next one. So we want a lumpy thing with a piston on it. I can hear somebody going past the bedroom door with music playing on their phone. So we'll drown the music out, we're talking, otherwise YouTube will say, "No, you can't have that, there's music." So hopefully that drowned out the sound of one of my daughters walking past playing music on their phone. Don't tell me your sister does the sound when she walks around with her mobile phone playing music all day in the house. Or if you're a married man with children that need to bother making. Your kids do that, don't they? It's a pain in the backside. And that's a bit loose in there, so we'll put a bit of glue in there to hold it in place for a second. Just hold it for 2 or 3 seconds. And start to stick, there we go. And then we'll go in from behind. Just put a little dab on it. So the next set of bogies. Go around. Okay, the holes. That sausage finger's getting in the way again. Put that in. There we go, that's in the hole. Make sure that's up against it in the right position. And then, again from behind, a couple of tiny drops. And like I say, with capillary action, that will work its way into the hole between the two bits of plastic, and it will give you a fantastic, fantastic little rock hard bond. The last set, put a drop of glue in there. Piston goes to the top. Just hold it for a second to grip. A tiny bit at the back. Oh, you dropped it then. Butterfingers. Push it in the holes, and then glue from the back. Now then, this one is a bit different, which is the dry wheel, the dry sprocket. And it's 2 of the spiky things. My neighbour's car alarm's going off there. Hopefully they're just forgot to deactivate it before they try to get in the car, otherwise in another couple of minutes we're going to get it again. Don't want that. So I'll have another sprocket in there. And then I'll have some glue on the end. I've got it actually in the hole. Right then, and then what we'll do is we'll leave that to dry for about half an hour, and that'll be nice and set ready. Okay, so what I'll do is, through the magic of the time machine, I'll put the other side together, because you don't want to see me do the whole that again, do you? That'd be boring, wouldn't it? So it's time machine, and I'll see you in a minute, in a second, instantly. Say time machine. Right, they've had time to settle down now, so let's put it all together. Now the back bit, if you notice inside, there's a section for it to fit in, a couple of grooves. So make sure the doors are on the outside bit. Plonk them in there, and then using your extra thin, put a bead down either side. Now then, there's a little channel on the edge, and a bead down there, bead at the back, and a bead at the edge. And then what we can do is get that bit in there, and then the same with the other side. So on the bead on the edge, you'll find if you put a drop on there, it'll run down, and then a little bit of the edge, a tiny bit in there, and then set this one in. It moved. Oh, clumsy. Now line that all up. What you need to do then, you're extra thin, you put it down the edge and it will run in, and it'll all grip it on every angle, every point. Now you want to make sure that this is really secure, because when we come to put the elastic band tracks on later on, you're actually going to have to put a little bit of pressure on things, and the last thing you want it to do is for it to all go and collapse on you. Right, so then we'll put it underneath on, a little bit on there, a little bit on there. Plonk him on and line him up. A little bit down the gap. Make sure it's all nice and square and lined up properly. Same at the front where you've got the little tiny join. And a bit in there. And then just hold it for a second or two till it all starts to grip and bond together. And the plastic melts, and then the glue bit actually starts to evaporate away. And now's a good time to make sure that your wheels are all in line. Just sight down it. Yep, that looks alright. And then we'll put that to side in a minute, to one side, and we'll start working on the turret. So leave that to dry on its own. You know, 5 or 10 minutes, and we'll get on. I know, already on to section number 5, which is building the turret. So, turret. Now, what I did when I took all the parts off, I left the machine gun, and I believe that's a little aerial thing. I left them on the sprue because we're going to paint all this green, and they're going to be black, and that's going to be gunmetal. So we'll leave them off, and tan little fiddly bits are prone to snap and break off when you're working on things. So always leave them till the end. So let's build the turret. So we want the cannon, the big boomstick. Now it goes that way up. Like that, so the mantlet, the curve of the mantlet goes to the bottom. You see what I mean when you come to do it. And then, oh no, the other one is another machine gun that fits on the front of the gun mantlet. So we'll do that. So make sure your hole for machine gun, as you're looking at it, goes to the right. Otherwise you'll end up with your machine gun on the wrong side. And then the rivet counters really will say, oh, it's just like the wrong way around. Which is funny if you want to upset the rivet counters, but why should you? If you don't feed the troll, it will go away. If something's not getting fed, it won't stick around. Like bullies at school, don't feed them, don't feed the trolls, don't give them what they want. You'll very quickly go away. Like that. And then we've got top of the cupola. I don't know why it's called a cupola. I lost a couple of friends of mine, Vincent de Kemp and Scott Sutherland. Vincent at Mr. Lost Model Making. My mate Scott from Orkney. They're armour builders. Vincent at Mr. Lost Model Making is fantastic when it comes to, oh, that's the wrong way around. Dave. Make sure you put the thing for the hatches on the sides, not forcing backwards. Then, so what I say, Mr. Lost Model Making, Vincent, he's specialised in Second World War armour, and my friend Scott Sutherland, all the way up there, he's not Scottish, he's Norwegian really, he lives in Orkney, beautiful place, land of the rising puffin. He's into modern armour. In fact, when he was in the army, that was his job, he was a spotter. Recognition of military vehicles, he's an expert when it comes to modern stuff, and Vincent is so knowledgeable when it comes to Second World War stuff. They're my go-to. Here guys, what is this? Because I'm not an armour builder really. I build ships mainly. Right, so let's have a look at putting the hatches on. Now this is when you've got a choice. You can have the hatches open, the hatches closed. If you can have the hatches open, what I suggest you do is paint the inside a cream colour. Should we do that? Let's do that. And as this isn't going to be an IPSM competition model, just give that a shake. I'll just use something like Desert Yellow or Deck Tan or something, just to give it that Sherman tank creamy colour, creamy inside colour. Because you're hardly going to see it anyway. It's not. It's a bit dark actually, but it'll do. Could do with being a bit whiter, a bit creamier. But it's going to be in shadow anyway. You're hardly going to see anything. Vincent's probably going to shout at me now. Use the wrong shade of Dunkelgelb. Sorry, Vince. And then we'll just paint the inside of the hatch as well. definitely the wrong shade, but we don't care. It's not a competition build. I'll always lighten it later. I'll put some cream on there, some white on that. Yeah, wooden deck tan would probably have been a better choice, but never mind, we don't care. I'm not bothered. It's not a competition build. Right, so we'll leave that to dry for a second. And we won't bother with the driver's hatches, we'll keep them closed. So we'll just pop them on now. That's the wrong one. That one. When you put in the driver's hatches on, there's a little tiny peg, and corresponding to it is the hinges. You can't really put one all around, like I nearly try to do then, because Dave's an idiot. Don't be like Dave. What's Dave? Yeah, Dave's an idiot. Right then, I reckon we'll just set that on there for a second. It's probably going to be very tight. There we go. So all that's left to do now is put those two little hatches on when it dries, and put the rubber band tracks on, and paint it. But what we'll do is we'll paint it before we put the tracks on. Now, I've already gone ahead to save a bit of time. It's dry now. I've painted my tracks with a dark brown colour. Right, and then what we'll do is we'll give them a dry brushing very lightly with some silver, just to pick out where the tracks have been driving on roads and that, and the rust doesn't stay on there, it rubs off, and you do get the bare metal. But then in all the rest of it, it does get rusty and dirty and covered in mud and snot and bits of grot and all sorts. So we'll give that a quick dry brushing a bit, and then we'll paint it all the same colour, which is our light olive green. I just used olive green XF58, which is the closest to me to do. So while that's drying, I'll paint this, and then we'll come back in a minute and see how far we've got. So I'll see you in a second when this is painted. Remember what I said about painting? If you brush painting, go one way with quite a decent coat, leave it, and then 90 degrees to it, and go the other way with a thinner coat, and just build it up, and it will look absolutely fantastic when you're doing it. So I'll get on and paint that, because you don't want to see me doing that, because it's boring watching me paint. And I shall see you in a minute, in a second. Time machine. What is it? Time machine. Say time machine. Right. I noticed on the tank itself there are raised details of the tools, so I just went ahead and just picked them out with a bit of brown and a bit of gunmetal colour. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but it's there, you might as well have a crack at it. It's quite small, so you'll have to, but your eyesight's definitely better than mine. So what we'll do, tracks, we'll give them a bit of dry brushing. Now the thing to remember about these tracks is, on the side that touches the road, they're actually rubber pads. So we'll dry brush, and we'll dry brush the edge of them, and then it'll pick out the metal parts underneath the pads. We'll leave that to dry for a bit, and then what I'll do is I'll just run black down the middle and cover the pads up, so it'll look like how they're supposed to. For the inside, we'll give that a dry brushing, because you will see parts of it. So we'll use our trusty chunky dry brushing brush. A bit of a dark metal colour. This is one of Citadel's colours, lead belcher. Just get most of it off, and then literally just start flicking it, just in patches. You don't have to cover all of it. Some of it will be rubbed off. Right, and then on this side, on the side that's touching the road, we just want to do really just down the edges of it. just like that. Just get it down the edge. That's all you need. Don't need huge amounts. Another pass. Enough, and then just along the edge. You'll notice what I mean when you have a look at yours. There's little squares that stick off, and that's what we want to catch. Inside and the outside, the upside down bit as well. Right then, and that's all we have to do to that. We'll leave that to dry now. We won't put the tracks on. We'll leave this to dry overnight, and then this bit will be fully dry and set, because when you're putting these on, you're actually going to stretch a little bit and put a bit of pressure on, especially these 2 points, the front and the back wheels. Alright, so leave it to dry overnight and then put the tracks on. Now what I'll do is I'll quickly show you how to do rubber band tracks. Very, very simple. Now in the instructions, what you'll find is it tells you there's one peg and one hole at either end. And what they tell you to do is fold them over and then heat up like a screwdriver or something like that, and then melt the end of the pins as they come through the hole. It works, but sometimes if you do it too hot, you'll just totally destroy them. It's really not worth doing. So just separate them. There's some little tabs in between. Just run through with a pair of scissors gently. Separate them. And what you do, you fold them over the right way so the sticky up spiky bits on the inside, and you literally, it's fiddly, push them through the holes. It is fiddly. Oh, I hate doing this bit. It's easier than trying to melt it and ruin it. Let's try and line them up. You don't want to hold. Sometimes you get some that have got 2 pins and they're a lot easier. And just get your stapler and staple them together. Once you've got one in, you can get in there. Give it another one. Now, I'll miss slightly. Don't worry about it because you're not going to see it. That's what you're going to do when you put the tracks on. Put the bit you've stapled to the top. Be very gentle and try and get this on. Best if you leave it till tomorrow. Give it 24 hours to fully dry. And then you get something to poke those in there. There we go. Right. There you go. That is the simplest way of doing rubber band tracks. I'll do the other one at it. Like I said, just leave yours till tomorrow. Give your glue time to have fully set and hardened on your gold wheels. There's nothing more frustrating than trying to do it and then damaging all your hard work. Or being impatient. Dave's impatient. Don't be like Dave. Dave's an idiot. Oh, they're so fiddly. This scale, they're very fiddly. There we go. And you'll get it in the end. Ah, beat me. Looks like a madman cackling now. Right then, so that's the tracks on. Oops. Almost. There we go. Now they're sitting properly. There we go. So there's just the hatches and the 2 machine guns to put on. And we'll call that done. So in our next episode, what we'll do is we'll start to build a nice little diorama for it. Now, don't forget what I said the last video at the start. The last video, wasn't it? Yeah. Was it the start of this video? I don't know. It's been a long time. Comment below. Do you want to see this on the beach at D-Day, or would you like to see this in a field in France or some sort of wooded foresty area? Leave a comment below and let me know, and we'll see what we can do. So, go and do your modelling, go and play your PlayStation, your Xbox. Please go outside, get some fresh air, go and see the world, go and have some fun. Always remember, tell somebody where you're going and what time you're going to be home, and I will see you in our next episode. Ta-da!